Faith brings you to opportunities that only your disciplines will allow you to embrace. What's going on? I'm Robert Laurie. Welcome to the You Should Write a Book Live, where I come to you, share different ideas to help you become the highest expression of who God is calling you to be. And today I'm just going to be talking from my book, The Emotional Available Man. I want to share in this season. I believe that many people are called to let go, and that may mean different things from different people. But for me, it just means sometimes when you're trying to embrace a goal or a vision that you have for yourself, you feel like you got to hold on to everything. You know what I mean? Every opportunity, everything. You're overly focused, especially now. In this age of AI. But this is your moment to let go. And I just wanted to share from the first chapter of my book, The Emotion Available Man. And that chapter is called Bro, You're Emotionally, Get Over It. And I wrote this book around for men for emotional maturity. And I was going through a season where I was very, very, uh, I was at a low place. And I'm grateful that I learn to write and express myself through the written word. And what that helped me to do is identify why I feel the way that I feel. Uh, what am I holding on to that's mine versus what is somebody else's? And I think, especially in this age of AI, this age of comparison, all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world right now, it is so important for men to be emotionally mature, especially those of us that's in the faith. I'm a believer, and it's so easy to use church language to cover up psychological dysfunctions. You can be discouraged, and instead of being honest with yourself and the people around you, you can quote a scripture. I can do all things through Christ. And God knows I went through that season. I really believe that this is a moment. I mean, the statistics for men is unfortunate. What's going on right now with men. So my heart is, as I make these videos, all around inspiring you to put your ideas out there as I put my ideas out there. So I just want to just share from chapter one, this is one of my favorite quotes in the book. And the quote is, "A man who avoids his pain is a man who is enslaved by it." That's a quote by Frederick Douglass. And just going to read the first couple paragraphs. I'm just going to share and just leave comments. If this is being a blessing to you, helping you, leave comments. I pray that I be a conduit to people who you are called to lead. You're called to empower people, but you feel stuck. We all get there, but I believe this is your moment to let go of that. All right. So I'm just gonna read this. It says, "We all heard this line before, bro. Get over it. Men don't cry. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that showing emotion is a sign of weakness. We're taught to man up, to suppress how we feel, and only to express emotions that are accepted by society, usually anger or frustration. The message is clear: men aren't emotional, and if they are, they certainly shouldn't show it. The problem with this perspective is that it sets men up for failure. Bottled up emotions don't simply disappear, they fester. Unprocessed emotions can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, y'all. Everything I write, everything I share is from my personal experience. I only write about uh, uh, overcoming destructive thoughts, emotional immaturity, because these are things I went through, things I had to walk through, things I had to let go to become the man I am today. And I believe every man has to take that journey in their own right, in their own way. The easiest thing to do is to avoid how you feel or to adopt other people's opinion and label it as your own. This is a moment for men to really process how you feel, y'all. And this is what I mean. You know, the easiest thing to do is to label yourself. You know, and just speaking through my own experience, what I mean is, you can go through an experience, and you may experience fear, for example, and it's easy to just label it as, oh man, I shouldn't be fearful. I'm fearful. I shouldn't be fearful, and focus so much on the fear. And what I have learned to do is any emotion that I feel, I learned the discipline of walking that emotion all the way to its end. What I mean is, I don't try to stop it. I don't try to suppress it. If I feel angry, I had to learn, and I hope this is making sense. And those men who may have experienced this, or leave comments. But I have learned, if I'm angry, for example, what I used to do is immediately tell myself, "Oh, I should be angry." So I stop. Well, I should be angry. What I learned to do is trust how I feel in that moment. I learned to say, you know what? I'm angry for a reason, and I'm gonna express my anger. Now, I'm not gonna express it in a unintelligent way, but I'm not gonna suppress it. I work in the automotive industry, and deal with people with egos. And uh, the easiest thing to do is to express your anger in a unhealthy way. But I have learned to trust how I feel. Trust that I'm frustrated. Well, there's a reason I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. There's a reason I'm disappointed. I feel shame. There's a reason I feel shame. Instead of immediately attempting to say, "Oh, I should not feel this way." And this is a moment. And again, even me writing this book, y'all, uh, I had to have courage to be honest with myself first, because again, everything I write is really to help me unpack how I'm feeling, and I pray it help other people. But I really believe that's what all leaders do. You know what I mean? It's you want to unpack your trauma, your fears, and the ones that you're in a healthy place, reveal them to others. So that's one thing that I learned is any emotion that I feel, I learn to not suppress that emotion. I learn to not immediately tell myself, hey, don't feel that emotion. You should feel peace. Especially us as Christians, be real quick to be like, you should feel peace. You know, like I feel angry. What they said made me angry, and it's okay to be angry. We're gonna have a conversation, express it, or I'm gonna just chill out, but I'm gonna process how I feel, and that's okay. I really believe that's really important to do, because what's happening right now is, the statistics of men is really scary, and I do my best not to be a statistic. That's why I process my own emotions, and again, this is something I learned, y'all, and it really helped me. So let me continue to read chapter 1 of my book, The Emotionally Available Man. All right, it says the problem with this perspective is that it sets men up for failure. Bottled up emotions don't simply disappear, they fester. Unprocessed emotion can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. The belief that men shouldn't feel or express emotions create a culture of silence where men suffer in isolation, believing that strength means ignoring their emotional needs. Let me tell you something. Uh, Men, uh, not expressing your emotions is an emotional expression. All right. I'm going to say that one more time. Not expressing your emotion is an emotional expression. It's just the emotional expression of silence. Now, it takes just as much discipline to express silence than it does to express peace, hate, courage, love. Uh, the story that we tell ourselves is what limits the information you can get from that emotion. What I used to do is, like I was sharing before, when I used to immediately stop a negative emotion like anger and tell myself I should not feel anger, I should feel peace. What I was doing, not knowing it, was I was cutting myself off from the information that that anger had to communicate to me. And I believe that's what people do who choose to be emotionally silent. You're cutting off important information that you need in order to be the highest expression of who God is calling you to be. And it's easy, especially those of you who are, you're introverted. You don't really like confrontation. God knows I was a person that did not like confrontation. But what I found is when you avoid confrontation, you tend to be in more confrontations. And I had to learn to accept the fact that, yeah, I don't like confrontation, but I would happily engage in it if it's necessary. In changing that perspective, I'm able to get more information from my emotions when I'm feeling the frustration, the anger, the misunderstanding. I'm able to get silent. I used to run off at the mouth, you know, uh, especially at the workplace. I actually got fired from a job because I had a boss that didn't like me. Well, let me rephrase it. Uh, he thought I was on the trajectory of taking his job, so he put me in a situation to where he wanted me to do something that was unethical. And because he put me in that situation, it made me angry. And when I expressed my anger to him, he was able to use how I reacted to the situation and get me fired on it being insubordinate. But me being angry was right because he was trying to get me to do something that was unethical, but he read the 48 Laws of Power. And if those of you who don't know that book, definitely you got to read that book because it's actually a strategy he implemented to get me fired. And I didn't know it till after the fact. Here's my point. People who are emotionally immature, people who are not for you will use that immaturity against you. It is what it is. This is a moment that you need to be emotionally mature. Now, it's a process, y'all. Even as I'm sharing, I'm not sitting here pretending that I'm mature, but I'm mature enough to see that I had an immaturity problem. It starts there. It starts with you first seeing that, dude, I can't go from 0 to 1 in 2.1 seconds every time just because it's exhausting. And those people who struggle with rage and anger, you know what I'm talking about. Dude, it's man, every time, like every day you 2.2 seconds away from being pissed off, like it's exhausted, you know. And I see that with experience because when I got angry, I didn't express it. My thoughts ran real fast. So it was exhausting for me to slow my thoughts down. So those of you who may be saying, "Oh man, I don't go to 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds," but if you like me, I don't show it, but in my head, my heart beating fast, I'm responding like I'm gonna get in a fight over something that was said. Me slowing my thoughts down and changing from reacting to responding is exhausting when you're emotionally immature. But I have learned through discipline, through faith, through prayer, and through letting go. I started talking about at the beginning of this about this is your moment to let go. I was able to just let go how I'm perceived, let go how things look, to really step into my true identity. And the world is very loud. You can't be loud too. And what I mean by that is the thoughts that's going on in your head. You know, Joyce Myers wrote a book called The Battlefield of the Mind. That's like one of her best selling books. I think she published like 94 or something like that. Uh, and it is so true. The battlefield is in the mind. Even when I wrote my first book, Think Up and Get Up, man, I had so much thoughts of I'm not worthy. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a pastor. Somebody who is more intelligent than me is going to do a video and say that I'm wrong. Man, I thought of everything you can think of to keep me from not sharing my story, writing my book, and put my ideas out there. And the crazy thing about it, my first book, Think Up to Get Up, was the book that started my online business, helping people write books, because people wanted to share their story and they didn't know where to start. And they could genuinely see that, dude, I just figured it out. I really didn't know what I was doing either. That's why it took me so long. It took me over 5 years to write my first book. But I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to articulate myself. I didn't know how to put a story together. I didn't know how to turn my life experience into a answer to a problem that other people can connect to and see their own story within my story to help them go to their next level. I had to learn that. And man, I can go on and on about that, but I'm gonna read a little bit more. But yeah, so even as I share, y'all comment, share, I'm all about helping people, like this platform, I call it the You Should Write a Book Live, because that's really where I started from. I started an online community helping people write books, and I did a lot of workshops, over 260 workshops, uh, sharing how to write a book, how to write without trauma dumping, how to create your first your book outline, stuff like that. But 80% of the things I talked about was all mindset, was all uh healing, because y'all, that there's more in you. I know there's more in me. And you're never gonna reach that more holding on to less. And it's the story that we tell ourselves that keeps us limited. And it is so easy to hold on to limitation because it's so familiar. So I pray that as I share and my books and different ideas, I pray that it help you, because y'all listen, these are things that I learned, and I learned the hard way, meaning that I had to bump my head. I'm still learning some of this stuff, especially about emotional maturity, because it's something that you don't really want to hear about. You don't really want to talk about. You know what I mean? But this is a moment to where it's like, dude, like, if you listening to people online that's like just gossiping or not causing you to bring the best out of you, like, I pray that you shift your mindset, because clearly in this season 2026, the economy is changing right in front of our faces. The world is changing right in front of you. History is being made right now, today, as we speak. It just don't feel like history because we're in it. And if you focused on your pain, your trauma, being a victim, man, I pray that you shift your mindset, and I pray that this content helps you shift your mindset. So again, I'm Robert Laurie. This is You Should Write a Book Live, and I pray that it bless you. I'm going to be coming to you with finishing up chapter 1 of my book, The Emotion Available Man. Uh, you can go to my website, more information at robertlaurie3.com. That's Robert L. Laurie, Lowry, the number 3.com, Laurie. And you can got all of my stuff there, my books there and stuff. And if you want to write a book, connect with me. The first thing that I do with my clients is uh, turn their story into an answer to a problem. So just connect with me and see if we're a good fit. And I'll be connecting with y'all next time. All right. All right. Peace.